Hey everybody, Martin Chuck here, and welcome to another episode of Modern Golf. This is a little series on speed. Last week, let's touch on the tour. Justin Thomas, a pair of 7 under rounds for 14 under. I guess big news yesterday, Tiger Woods had a bad round. I mean, he's human, right? And, obviously he's in the twilight of his career, and I thought he was done years ago, and then he comes back and wins, unbelievable, wins the Masters and wins the FedEx Cup. Crazy, but who knows? We cannot count Tiger out yet. A lot of guys playing good this week at Sherwood Country Club down there in Southern California. Oddly enough, I was a runner-up for that job many, many moons ago. It's funny how things work out. So, talking about speed, last week we talked about some structure, some arm positions, okay, fundamentals and tempo. So you can always refer back to last week. Today I want to talk to you about some secret sauce and paint a picture for you using this fantastic oriental device of war. So producer Steve, would you roll this please? Okay, what you're gonna see here is a couple of videos that I just poached from YouTube. This is called a trebuchet. So why is this thing really cool? Well, it acts kind of like a golf swing. It's got this weight at the end. You see that right there? That's like the club head. It's got arms and it's basically got a wrist condition. And here's some fella winding this up on his own, like working super hard to do that. He is getting the mechanism loaded. That's what a backswing's all about. And I should have trimmed this video up a little bit more, but what he's doing right now is he's getting that all twisted, trying to get that arm from where it is way up high down into that loaded position. He's putting a pin in. Now that thing is ready to reverse its course and unload into a golf ball. And I want to talk to you about some of these little nuances. So this guy's going to get far clear from this and basically release all the energy. He's got a load on there, there's a rope, standing back, he's standing back way far. Watch this thing just obliterate his pickup truck right there, but he pulls the pin, that arm swings. That arm's pulling on a rope that's hard to see right there, and then it's got its load, which is some big stone that's gonna get just tossed abnormally far for the energy. So producer Steve, you can cut that. Now, for years I've been talking about this reciprocating motion in a golf swing, in that to get this smart ball here to move around my finger, I've got an equal and opposing force to do that. There's a force going to my right when the ball is over to my left, and etc. And to feel that, you feel the friction. And I know you've all done this. You can feel the friction against your finger. If you've ever spun something around in your hand like this, there's an opposing force. Well, that opposing force in golf is massive. And that's one of the things about the trebuchet. Think about it. You've got this arm that's cocked way down, you've got this rope and then this load, and then all of a sudden the weight pulls down and it snaps this thing around, and they've got to anchor the whole unit down or it's going to flip itself over. So there's a lot of thought and care in how they do that. And in your golf swing to smash, you need a little bit of that too. So the trebuchet components we're going to work on today, we need the freedom in our hands. We need to be able to develop, I can hit it a certain distance with frozen hands, but I need this freedom in my hands. There's my loaded up trebuchet, and this is my weight getting the arm and the club to sling out with speed, overtaking and smashing the golf ball. And another little piece, a little nuance, when you watch high-level batters hit baseballs, okay, I think I'm Mike Trout because I've got some video of Mike, and Mike's waiting on a pitch, and the pitch comes and this lead foot settles, and then his weight stays back as he unwinds and hits the ball. There's a ton of weight back while the momentum of the club continues and helps him get to a finish. So let me hit a shot here. Let me do my best example of a trebuchet. Let's see if we can put some numbers up there. I've been working hard on my speed, trying to get my speed more into the comfortable 160s, which is not bad for a guy who hasn't been working on his speed for a lot of years. So let's go ahead and build this trebuchet, get everything loaded up and cocked, and see if we can smash one here. And that felt like a pretty good shot. That ball's going pretty much down my target line. So club head speed 109, fractional fade, ball speed 155, carry of 280. So not bad. Now I know I can do better. So elements of doing better, and how are you going to do better? So get reloaded here, put another boulder in my trebuchet. The feelings of this, everybody. Now it's a little tricky, and some people might think this is maybe a little bit more technical than you want to go. But if you're really looking to develop your speed, think about these pieces. We've got to create this backswing, okay? We've got to create this distance and width in our backswing so that we can have this settling, get the club start to work away from us, and feel like we can be a counter to all the momentum pulling and snapping the club head past the golf ball. Let's go ahead and hit another shot there. So 155, I can do better. See if I can really send one right there. This is the yin and yang of opposing forces. Developing speed in the backswing by staying high and wide. Let's go ahead and do that again. Give this a proper sending. And that one felt pretty darn good. So speed again, 109, not my fastest. Actually hit 115 outside today doing some work at the Raven. Ball speed 161 and carry 288. So that's pretty good for me. And to be fair, that's a different feeling of how I've swung it recently. And also, it's quite different than how I swing an iron. When hitting an iron, this is what I want you to understand. This club is the club you're trying to mash for distance, hopefully straight enough so it goes in play, doesn't go out of play, finds fairways. If it doesn't find fairways, it goes far enough in play to where it's in the rough and you've got a shorter club into the green that you can manage out of that longer grass. And let's face it, unless you're playing in US Open conditions or certain clubs around the country that really grow their rough, and there's not many of those, hitting the ball far off the tee, in most cases, you're going to hit it in favorable rough that isn't that bad. Now, you may play on courses where the greens are firm and you've got to kind of manage the flyer out of the rough, but for the most part, that's not the case. So let's hit another shot and talk about it. And these little events you're going to do to really kind of understand the trebuchet and how you're going to smash it. Go ahead and build your stance, get the club off the ground, and go ahead and set it and build a waggle. The club is not on the ground. Now watch my footwork. You can see my weight is going to my left and to my right and to my left and to my right. So this is waggle and footwork. This is a big, big deal. Because the backswing, people, is this sense of really stepping on the right to sling the club up, to turn your pelvis, to turn your chest, to elevate your hands as much as you comfortably can without losing control of yourself. Now, you've got to live on the edge of losing control. You really do if you want to hit it far. Let's face it, long drive guys that hit it 450 yards, they are on the edge. They're out of control. Mind you, they get 8 balls in most cases. I think the rules changed to 6, but you got to live on the edge. So the sensation of this is today's episode is really about the trebuchet and the counter force, meaning that as something's working its way down, I am backing away to snap this golf club through impact. Let me give you another one of these. And I'm trying to get as much club head travel as I can. So my goal in this swing is to actually get the club to travel back and get it a little bit beyond parallel. Just a little bit, not a ton. And as this little body turns 52 in a week, it's hard for me to do that, to be fair. And my swing was getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So I've got to really feel like I'm getting longer and a little bit more reckless with my backswing length. So let's go ahead and try to meet those goals and go ahead and send one here. Trebuchet style. I've got the boulder down here loaded in the rope. I've got a nice foundation. Let's go ahead and oppose this swinging mass at the end of this stick and really smash one and see how we do. And that felt pretty good. Fractional miss hit on the toe. Man, I've been a robot clubhead speed-wise, 109, 156 ball speed, but a perfect launch number and a perfect spin number. So I had my longest carry, even though it wasn't my fastest ball speed at 290. So 290 carry, and the reason was, it was a great combination of launch, high launch and low spin. High launch and low spin is what allows for the ball to go its farthest. Now, you can have spin that's too low. That was 1943 on launch of, let's see what my launch was. My launch was 17.9, so very, very high launch and very low spin. In fact, there was a study done years ago. They used to call it 17 and 17. 17 launch and 1700 RPMs of spin was kind of the magic sauce. That wasn't far off it, actually. So those sensations, I want to get a little bit higher. Then we're going to go to a Why You Suck and talk about a young man who loves playing golf and take a look at his swing here. But let me go ahead and send one more the best I can, try to rev it up. And again, I'm going to hit this as hard as I possibly can. I know some guys they have 200 plus mile an hour ball speeds. This guy doesn't, but let's see what I can do if I can get back on the 160s here as best I can. And that felt pretty good. 109 swing speed again. That's how many in a row is that? So fractional miss hit, but not too bad. 156 ball speed, 285 carry. Pretty good numbers. A reasonable hit, just a little bit high. So not bad. In play, far off the tee. I'm pushing it and pushing it and pushing it for fun because I've got a contest. Mark Crossfield, I don't know if you know Mark, he's a great coach from the UK and a good friend, and also Andrew Rice. And it's funny to watch these guys. We're all about the same age and we're kind of pushing each other to see from who can start now and get through Christmas and have the biggest gains as far as ball speed. And Mark is actually doing strokes gained. The relationship of how close and how far the golf ball goes. So you can't just hit it out of play. You got to kind of hit it far and reasonably straight, which that shot was pretty far and pretty reasonably straight. So hopefully you guys are understanding this sense of commitment to the lead side and then this centering, staying back to get this energy to flash out to the golf ball, to take over and move the golf ball with quite a bit of force. That's the goal. Let's bounce into the why you suck. And this young man has a driver, so this will be a good little episode. We'll let this play through here. And I see this all the time. I see golfers get short in their backswings, and I see arms get really, really long. So you're going to see some things here as we watch this. You know, my guess is this young man is not trying to hit it where he's pointing. Like his body is aimed well to the right. The middle of the fairway looks a little bit more to the left. As we watch this on the left screen there, you know, centered in your view, you can see this big shoulder turn with these arms that are kind of losing connection in the backswing. He loses his elevation in his backswing. So let's take a look at as we roll through this a little bit more. The elevation, his head comes down, his arms get too stretched away from his body. Let's see, come on there, camera, you can roll this thing along a little faster. It's my edit job. This is a video I sent back to the father of this young man, trying to help him out a little bit, trying to get some things just a little bit more organized. And I think I was a little bit wordy on my video, obviously. But the goals for this, obviously, is to get somebody set up properly, not lose elevation during the backswing, because you know when you get a little closer to what you're about to hit, you're going to respond by pushing up probably a little bit prematurely. And I bet he loses control of the club face. I've never played golf with a young man. So you can cut it right there, Producer Steve. Thank you. So I have another student, this young man that I've been working with quite a bit, and it seems to be a theme from younger guys and gals. You know, they're not that thick across the chest. They're not that thick in the biceps. And they can take their arms and they can get their arms way deep and long in a place that's almost, they can't recover from it. So in this case, on helping this young man play a little bit better golf, I want him to be a little bit more contained in his backswing. So being contained, you can have arm structure and you have great wrist condition. So here's what I mean by that. Put your good hands on the club, but before you do that, let's go ahead and make sure we aim, get a T-square, go through the routine of walking through the setup position enough times so that when you aim your face and you get settled and you elevate your face and aim it down range or down fairway where you want the golf ball to go, it's club face first, arms and radius second, and then feet last. And hopefully you can aim this gun a little bit better because this young man's aimed off to the right a little bit too much. And then second, we get these arms that get a little bit too chased back behind his body, makes it hard for him to recover. And then finally, the thing that I want him to work on is feel like you can maintain your elevation in your backswing. A ton of guys they sink down into their downswing as their pelvis pushes forward and they open up. But usually we don't see a lot of good strikers have a reduction in elevation in the backswing because then they have to push a little prematurely in the downswing. So, young man, things I want you to do. Obviously maintain your elevation. Get your good hands on the club, and then from here we're going to kind of soften up both elbows. Make sure your wrists are comfortably hinged. The range of motion in the wrists isn't a great one, just a little bit, We don't want to let the fingers lose hold of the grip. We don't want to separate the trail hand off the lead hand. That's a no-no. Get your good hands on there. And when we do that, we're up here, okay? Right wrist, my trail wrist is bent back. My lead wrist is hinged comfortably. And then from here, we're going to rotate our back to the target. And notice how much more my arms are in front of my body. I want depth of my arms and hands. I just don't want to overdo it to where I have some recovery move that is really, really hard to do. So with this fella, we're going to go ahead and hinge, kind of get these hands up in front of us with a little bit of push away from our body. We see that on the right screen. And my hands are kind of in front of my face. The shaft isn't perfectly vertical. It's tilted a little bit away from the target, biased toward my right side. And then from here, as we rotate, my arms are more in front of me. And then I can elevate. And then from there, I've got a much easier path to get back to the golf ball. So, young man, when you set up over a golf ball, let's feel like we're building that backswing, keeping our elevation, keeping our hands a little bit more in front of us. Not so crazy deep by letting the arms get pinned across the chest and our right arm get way behind us. And I think you're really going to do well. A simple drill you can do is with any kind of surgical tubing, an aim stick in front of your chest. You can go ahead and put some surgical tubing. My friend George Gankis has something called the G-Box. It's excellent for this. And you can work on your swing without getting that trail arm too deep behind you. We don't want so much depth that you can't get it back in front of you. And then we can go ahead and unwind inside out and smash some golf balls. So that is the Why You Suck episode this week. Good luck with your golf game. He's a New Mexico golfer. I know that the season's been kind of shut down for the golf teams there. My heart goes out to you guys. But this is a great time to work on your game and develop your skills. So good luck maintaining your elevation in your backswing, keeping your arms a bit more in front of you, and I think you'll hit it a little bit more consistently and a little farther as well. So let's get back into distance and some of the pieces that you're going to do to help you hit it farther. So thank you, Producer Steve. The trebuchet, you guys, we had a little breakaway. We looked at those videos from how that machine is inspiring the weight of the club to whirl about us at high speed. Super big deal. There is a video, a lot of videos nowadays, watching these kids and how they are moving. Very few golfers, very few now, have the kind of what I call old school footwork of arriving in perfect balance on their lead foot. I got to be honest, it was a goal of mine. Why? Because my mentor wanted it to be that way. I taught it to kids too, okay? I'm guilty, got to be honest. Nowadays, kids, it's a game where speed matters a ton. In fact, if you can't kind of mash it out there, you're really limited on the ability to score really low. Now, I've had some kids come to me that want to play professional golf, and they have ball speeds that are nowhere near where other kids are. And I know you can chip and putt, there's no question about it, but it's like entering the Formula One race and you can't get your car out of third gear. It's really hard to win no matter how good you can get in out of the corners. Let's be honest, okay? So you need your speed. Now, footwork, you guys. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there's a ton of people that have this footwork where once they hit this lead side, once they rotate and develop their backswing, really get this nice high hands, and then they get into their lead side, everything from here is this push, 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 push. The lead foot actually jumps up and relocates. I mean, it's such an athletic event, it's even hard for me to do. I'm going to attempt to hit one for you and hopefully hit one as hard as I can because, again, this is a speed episode. So we got to get pumped up to hit it far. Let's get in here. I'm going to just move my down the line camera just a sliver so I'm a little bit more in frame for this. There we go, because I really want you to see my footwork. So let's go ahead and get set up there. That's better. I'm all in the frame. Now, as I get organized, the whole thing about this is let's develop that big backswing. Really feel the motion to sling this thing, and that right leg is pushing. Big, big turn as much as I can. Peaceful wrists. Push, and there's a little bit of jump here. Let's see how I do. So it's hard for me to hold my finish because I can't. Now, again, I had a 109 clubhead speed. This thing must be cockeyed. But everything else is changing. 157 ball speed, 288 carry, a pretty centered hit. Now my impact positions on my driver, that was a bit of an overdraw, but you know what? It's in play. I will take it. the contact, even though I'm trying to hit it hard, everybody, that's still pretty much coming out the middle of the face. So even though I'm trying to go at it faster than maybe is comfortable, because I'm trying to push my comfort level, I'm still clipping the ball in the middle of the face. And that's something that if you don't try to improve your speed, guess what? All you're going to do as we get a little older is the speed's going to decline. So that backswing feeling, let's go ahead and see if I can't get back up and over the 160s. I know I can do it. I just got to free up a little bit more, get a little bit more aggressive. Nice free backswing, nice long backswing. Full turn. Let's see how we go here. Oh, 110 club speed, so I know the machine's changing. So it's crazy. I had like 5 or 6 in a row at 109. Ball speed, 158. It went up 1 mile an hour and I got to a 290 carry. So a reasonable hit to it. Felt a little higher in the face. Club path out to in, face slightly close to the path. A tiny pull draw. Okay. So how are you going to increase your speed, you guys and gals out there? I got to be honest, it's a lot of work. And I'm up for the work, and I've got this personal little challenge. And you know what I want you guys to do? I want you guys to create a little challenge with some of your pals. Girls or guys, let's face it, see what your benchmark is. Now, you know, it was funny, after the episode last week, I went and played golf. And it was my friend's birthday. I show up at this golf course. It's a neat group of people showing up. I think he had 4 groups out there. And this athletic fella got out of a cart. He comes over to say hello to me. I say hello. He introduces himself as Aaron. I'm like, hi, Aaron. You look like an athlete. I go, do you play any sports? And he goes, yeah, I play baseball. And I go, what level baseball? Do you play men's league? What do you play? He goes, I play center field for the New York Yankees. No joke. This guy was Aaron Hicks, center fielder for the New York Yankees. And I said, I'm sorry you're here playing golf with us today because I know you'd rather be in the playoffs. But he couldn't have been more lovely guy, okay? He was a fairly good sized guy. I'm going to say 6'1"-ish. Obviously fit, strong, clearly beyond athlete to run down balls in the center field and hit a lot of, professional pitches being thrown his way. The guy had massive speed. And you know what else he had? He had all those little elements, the footwork, the sense of developing his nice high and wide backswing, this resettling onto the lead foot, this rotation and jumpy follow through that smashes it, and boy did he smash it. I mean, I comfortably hit it 300 yards. If I hit a good one, it goes 275 in the air and rolls on the ground. This guy flew it 320, 330 all day long and reasonably in play. Like, he played very nicely. I think he shot 1 under par. It was quite impressive. And the interesting thing about Aaron was he was a golfer before he was a baseball player. He started playing baseball at 15. Crazy. That's how good an athlete he was. But this isn't about him. This is about you. So this is true speed. You know, I like speed sticks. This is another version of a speed stick. You saw this in last week's episode. This little piece of wire that's epoxied into the end of the shaft has some play, has a bit of feel in it, and then you've got a variety of weights. The sense of that weight down there and really feeling this freedom and how we're going to get up to the top as though we're that loaded trebuchet, that pin gets pulled, we resettle and everything gets thrown past at high speed. Let me go ahead and show you the sense of me is going as fast as I can doing this. So that for me feels like I'm going 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I know you're all looking out there, especially you younger dudes, going, that's not very fast, Martin. But for me, it feels very, very fast. And you know what it is? I'm getting my body ready to move. I'm making my body used to this sensation so that when I grab my driver, I'm more accustomed to moving fast. Because if you're not accustomed to moving fast, you won't move fast. So little tidbit, little other nuance that I want to make you aware of. Your lead hand and your trail hand, okay? In golf, you have to smash with your hands, and you have to get your hands ready to do some smashing. So when you get your good hands on the club, or in this case, the true speed stick here, and we get to the top, your lead thumb really looks like think about it, kind of looks like a bit of a chicken leg, okay? It's got a thicker part and it's got a skinnier part. Well, that thumb, that chicken leg, sits nicely in the palm of this trail hands. When I go to the top, it's almost like when I think of Aaron Hicks in center field, I'm holding a baseball up here, my bent back trail wrist, my right scap is stretched back across my back. I'm holding that thumb up here comfortably to where I can use and rotate and then use my hands as aggressively as I can to smash a golf ball. Really important feels. We don't want to come back to the top underloaded. Some players play that way, but if you want to hit it your farthest, you have to have as massively loaded as you can. Now, if you can control the club face when you do this, all the better. And honestly, I can miss it just as much swinging under control as I do swinging hard at it. In fact, I hit it straighter the harder I swing at it. So in many cases, I find that to be like my students. Don't be afraid of being aggressive. Swing the driver like you mean it. You'll always have the opportunity to hit crispy little control iron shots, wedge shots, approach shots, under the wind 7-irons, all those things. So I love the True Speed clubs. You've got 3 weights, 1 shaft. The feeling at the end of that shaft has got some play to it. It feels great. Once you overspeed train that a couple times, okay? The body's primed to move. Let's go ahead, pumped up. Let's go ahead, send another driver. Stance width getting quite organized. Obviously, my body is within my feet. The ball's forward within my stance. Let's see if I can do my best. In fact, I'm going to take in my best Fast Eddie Fernandez swing here if I can. He'll giggle because he's a 200-mile-an-hour ball speed guy. But let's see how I do here. And I hit that on the heel just a little bit. I like where it's going. It's going down the middle. But I know that's a 110 club speed for me, mild mishit, 158 ball speed. A little bit too much spin on that, so it didn't have the best carry. And you got to hit it in the middle of the face. But man, I really got to free this up because I got to get my 165 is the best I've done, and I haven't been able to touch that in a few days. So it's funny how from day to day we go from, thinking we're on a new track to something that's just a little bit slower. Let's see if I can kind of get things organized and give one a proper wallop here. That felt on the button pretty nicely. 109 swing speed, 146 efficiency. That should be 160 ball speed. Let's see what we got here. 159 ball speed. So I'm a little slower. I've got some work to do, not going to lie. So modern golfers, friends of Tour Striker, I greatly appreciate you. Speed's a big part of golf, and it's a piece of the game. It's not the game. The game's comprised of putting, chipping, artistry with your iron shots, a lot of thought in picking the right shot when you go play. You've got to be prepared to play golf, but you've also got to get your body in a position to where it can swing the driver with freedom and with intent to go fast. And that's what these episodes are all about. We're going to do one more speed episode next week. I hope you come back and tune in. It's going to be super fun. So I'm going to sign off right now. This is Martin Chuck signing off. Want to thank my sponsors, Nike Golf, Hanma. I'm loving the Hanma gear. It is fantastic. Foresight and Even Roll. So thank you guys. And thank you for watching and tuning in and your questions. I greatly appreciate you. And one final thing. Hey, the golf school's back open in Phoenix. Obviously, COVID's still here, but we've got a beautiful outdoor space. And when we are inside, we take great care to be careful and wear masks. And we hope you come see us in Phoenix. I know you'd have a blast. So Martin Chuck signing off. Thanks for watching.